Hey family, my name is Gary, I'm an addict. Before we get started, let's have a moment of silence followed by the serenity prayer. Prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Thanks. Well, let me give you a little qualifications or what may help to qualify myself as being a member of Narcotics Anonymous. And also, my friend, that asked me, would I share this workshop? I think he did it because I've been going through a lot. And what I mean by going through a lot, you all are here when I really share. But to just give you a little disclaimer about myself, I grew up in a very, very, very small community, and what that community consists of is nothing outside of our first cousins, grandmother, grandfather, aunts, uncles, and siblings, and nothing outside of first cousins. So we grew everything. We hunt, we fish, we work. We learned how to work on. I learned how to work on cars. I learned how to just really be a productive member of society without ever having to do it, because I'm the youngest of 7 brothers. I had 11 sisters and a mother. So if you can imagine being the youngest of 7 brothers and 11 sisters and a mother, and be able to sit here today after going through what I put myself through and them through, it's nothing more than a miracle. Because what it is, me being the youngest siblings, I didn't have to get out there and do the things they did. I always had choice. And when you're talking about managing, it's gonna get into a relationship, but managing, I learned how to manage everybody at the age of 2 years old. And what I mean by that is, as a child, you are supposed to be trained up instead of you being the one who trains. So we learn things that we can get away with. And one of mine was to throw a tantrum bad enough when I didn't get my way. And this went on for a very long time. Now, I'm not saying that I didn't get my tail tore up, but I was one of these people that grew up, if you told me not to do something, then that's what I had to try to find out, why you tell me not to do something. And it cost me probably, just at the end of the story, y'all, it cost me probably about $52,000 less than 30 days ago. And it's not funny, but I grew up loving my aunts, my uncles. I loved my grandparents to the point of even if their kids didn't do the things that needed to be done in their homes or around the house, especially outside, I would find myself doing, and I would be compensated very good from it. So I learned how to earn money at a very early age by just, washing cars, cutting grass. And grass cutting was one of my chores that I grew up with, that I hated doing it because I just hated doing anything that I had to do for as a chore. But as soon as I realized that I was going to have to do it anyway, it became an enjoyment, because I could sit back and look at a good job I've done. When you cut a manicured yard, and so not only did I keep ours manicured, I kept other family members, and they would compensate me for it. So, these was triggers that I didn't understand, until I actually got here. Now, I grew up in a religious household, very religious, and I think it was somewhat spiritual, but when I look at the spirituality part of what life is today, I question a lot of things when it comes down to religion. And it played a very important part of my life today, because I am a very spiritual person. And I think I saw myself as being a very spiritual person very early on in life, because I believe in good, And what I mean by believing in good is, that was bad always present. But I was one of those at a very early age that wasn't afraid of the bad and would stand up to the bad. And I guess crazy. I guess you could call it really crazy, because as a youngster, standing up for an adult, looked like you get your head knocked off. But you got to remember, I grew up with 7 brothers. That was crazier than I was. So I didn't really fear what was going to happen. And so that's a little disclaimer, because I started using drugs at the age of 13. And the first time I really picked up is when my uncle came home from Vietnam. I was only 7 years old, and I thought I was stealing a Prince Albert cigarette out of a Salem pack, because they used to roll Prince Albert. So instead of taking the Salem cigarette, I took the roll up cigarette, which was marijuana, and I went around the house and I smoked it, and I didn't understand the effect that they did. But when I turned 13, I was on my way to baseball practice, and a few of my friends we had to walk from one school to another place where we played ball at, and we was walking through the woods, and they fired up, what I found out to be marijuana. So I didn't ask them to give me something. I knew the smell, and I asked them, where can I get me some? So once I asked them, where can I get me some, I had a buddy. He took me to the dealer, and I bought a dime that day, and 3 days later, I bought an ounce. And less than 45 days, I had a pound of dope. At 13 years old. But I was one of those guys that I was very inquisitive. Like I said, I was never scared of anything. And my granddaddy, I could ask him for $10 and he would give me $100. Remember, I always know how to make money. So with that, I was a courtesy clerk at a grocery store at Piggly Wiggly, wearing a white tie, a tie and a shirt. And I made a lot of money, because, I'm easy to get along. I ain't hard on the eyes, and I got a good personality. I got a pretty good personality. I cut up with the best, and I never see nobody better than the next person. I'm one of these people that I see everybody in this room the same. I'm going to treat everybody like I want to be treated good. Now, when you don't treat me good, I'm going to try to get out and run you, because when I was younger, I didn't mess with nobody, but don't mess with me, because I didn't know when to quit, and really don't ever show me you'll hurt me. Today is much different, because I understand it's so easy to get in trouble and it's so hard to get out. So, and I have one son and I have one grandson, and I teach them these spiritual things, the guidelines that I live by today, because I've been married 3 times, and in his last marriage, my son, he's stationed in he was in Korea at the time. Reason why he was in Korea, but he was stationed in Alaska, and today he's on his way to California for some training. But he's a helicopter mechanic, getting ready to be a pilot. And he, I'm ex-military. I went in electronics. God has tremendously blessed me, because even after he brought me to the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous, I always had good jobs prior to getting here. I would not go work in a job to where I would have to take a urinalysis. I would go work at a Western automotive shop or Sears automotive repair shop, because I was good at my hands. I told you I learned how to work on cars and tractors and electricity at 7 years old. So I could always make make money, because I can make a whole lot more money doing it on the street than I could going in the Sears. But I needed that little foundation, I guess, to help me stay in somewhat control. You know, because if I didn't, I probably would have hit a bottom a whole lot faster. And but I don't know the reasons, but I just thank God that things happened the way they did. And I went through a lot of pain, self-inflicted. You know, I self-inflicted a lot of pain in my own life, you know, just through the self-will. And but anyway, getting back to knowing that, kind of lost my train of thought, but you know, getting back to
relationships.
Yeah, but
it was your son.
Yeah, but you know, I teach my sons spiritual principles about, you know, don't ever do things and putting conditions on people. You know, because once we put conditions on each other, we just failed each other. Now, I can I tell him it's okay to put expectations on his dad. I put expectations on you. That way it leaves me on the disappointment. But if I put conditions, that means if you don't do this, then I ain't gonna do that. You know, and that ain't love, really, to me. Love means that it was gonna do just what I got growing up. It was gonna give you a chance to fail, but still love you. I went to jail probably over 30 times, and my mama bailed me out every time. But until that last time that she said she was tired of me making her look bad, you know, ruining the family name. So on that 30th, probably 30, I had 15 DUIs. That's the reason why I kind of regulated the 30 times, you know, because I got in a lot of fights. You know, I did a lot of things, but I always got DUIs for some reason. I still have that car today, you know, because one of my businesses, the first business that I opened up was a automotive repair shop, which was very successful. You know, all of my business, the guy that asked me to do this workshop, so he knows me from my area. So, you know, I worked federal government. I retired from the federal government in electronics. I had an automotive repair shop. I had a used car dealership. I had a restaurant, and I had a paving company, all in the same areas. So that's really what I try to tell people about the spiritual side of Narcotics Anonymous versus, you know, looking at any and everything else. Because if I got my spiritual side intact, no matter what I go through, I can face. Because it's not about the outside entities that I'm up against, it's about these insides. Because I remember before I got here, I too, at the end of the road, want to blow my brains out, but was too cowardly to do it. So what you think I did? I went out there to push somebody that I thought maybe would have done it for me to do it. But just so having the God of my understanding, yeah, I've been stabbed in the back, I've been shot at, I done turned over 3 cars, but yet, you know, I got 1 scratch and I maybe got a few marks in my back. But, you know, I don't talk about this thing to brag. I talk about it because I just told her, if what I have to say help one person think outside of the box, because when I got here 27 years ago, you know, I got clean January the 15th, 1993, and I didn't have to pick up no more after that because I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. And if anybody knows what we celebrate on the 15th of January, that is Martin Luther King's birthday, I went into a drug rehab because I had hurt my mother so bad to where she aged 5 years. And my mother's no longer with me, and that hurts so bad. You know, I was headed up here yesterday and I had to turn around because my brother that's 2 years older than me, he went into ICU, but he was doing fine when I left him this morning. You know, so I come from a very big, loving family. And we do things from the heart because, you know, my brother, I live 20 minutes from him, but he calls my sister in Atlanta that wasn't gonna come, you know, to aid him. But it's like me and my sister that would be that aid him, he didn't call her. And I told her at the hospital, we're not here because of what he did and did not do. We're here because of what we need to do. See, at the end of the day, it's not what somebody else do, it's what I need to do. And so I try to teach, I try to live a very spiritual life, not a religious life. And in that, I married my high school sweetheart, my first marriage. I was 17 and she was 16 when we met in high school. And I make promises. I don't know about you guys, but I'm one of these guys, if I'm with you when I turn 25. Now she's 16, I'm 17. And I told this woman, I say, if we're together when I turn 25, we're gonna get married. What y'all think happened? At 25, we were still together and we got married. But listen to me, I wouldn't have let my daughter marry me. But what a lot of people in my community, they love me and they love my family, so they figure, okay, this marriage might change this fool, this might change him. But let me tell you, because I didn't want kids out of wedlock. I was born out of wedlock. My mother, I got a lot of siblings. My mother had 12 kids, 8 girls, and I'm the youngest of 4 boys. My dad had 3 girls and 3 boys. So that made me the 7th son on either way. The 4th son on both sides. So, Narcotics Anonymous has, 3 on my dad's side. I will be the 3rd son on my dad's side. 4th on my mom's side. So, but like I was saying, I wouldn't have let me marry my daughter. But we had a little girl first, and we lost her. She couldn't carry the term. She lost a little girl, our daughter, and really I was able to straighten up when my daughter was conceived. I'm talking about quit everything, and because I always, like I said, I had good jobs. I worked for General Electric at the time, and when we lost her, because I had the best insurance that you can have, it hurt. It hurt me to the core when 3 days later we lost her. And then about 13, 14 months later, we had a son that was also born premature, but he survived. That's the one I'm talking about in the military. And so that was my first marriage, She left me after he got a year old. And then I got another hostage about 6 months after she left me. My second wife became my next hostage, which, she was in school to become a lawyer, but they lived a pretty rough life. She had a son and 2 daughters, and about less than 2 months after meeting her, they moved in. I didn't actually have a place to stay. I stayed wherever I really laid my head or come to. But I didn't have to live like that. And after I met her, I got a brick home to where we all moved in it. And she was my enabler, even though I went back and got a very nice job at the time. But I was using pretty bad. I was at the end of my road right now. And we lived together for 2 years, and that's when I went into rehab. And when I went into rehab, then I promised her that if I can stay clean a year, we'll get married. When I got that year, what y'all think happened? I got married. Now this woman here, it's like all of her dreams went away when I got married to her. And it hurt. It hurt me real bad because it's like the first wife. She had did a 4-year ride at Payne College. That when I got out of the military, she kind of walked away from it. Versus, very, and what she's doing very good. She works at a college now over gifted students all over the world. And then my second wife, like I said, I had a year clean. We got married. We was together for 24. We was married for 24 years. But after the third year of being married to her, you know, I wasn't the same guy I was when I was using. So really, the third year in the marriage, no matter what we did, you know, we didn't really have counseling. We didn't ever argue, fuss, or fight. But it's just that we found no common ground to really grow together. So it's like we was, you know, doing all the things that a married look like on the outside. Traveling, you know, taking the kids on vacation, you know, doing everything. But we really wasn't happy. So after 24 years, I just was tired of being stagnant in my life. And we got a divorce. And I can actually believe to say that we both are doing a whole lot better apart than we was doing together, even though she never worked in those 27 years that we was together. You know, she would work, you know, a little restaurant. She would manage restaurants here and there. That's the reason why I bought a restaurant. But she would never do the things with me that I wanted for a wife. And it hurt, you know, and then in 2011, I had lung surgery. You know, and like I said, I worked for the federal government at the time, along with, you know, having four businesses at the same time. I'm working a full-time job with a family, 4 businesses that I'm running pretty good, and I have lung surgery that put me out of work for about 6 months. And I took a real hit financially, because when you employ people, long as you're there, they'll do you pretty good. But when you don't show up, there's some things go to hell pretty quick. But anyway, in 2011, I had lung surgery. In 2013, the stress had got so bad that I had a slight stroke. The slight stroke, it set me back for about another 8 months. And then all this reserve money that I had to play with, and, you know, called cash money. You reserve a lot of cash money over 20-something years. You know, but when times get hard, that money go real fast. So I you know, had a slight stroke, and then in 2015, I had major back surgery. And I made up in my mind out of trying to take care of so many people that I employed. At this time, I'm taking care of my wife. I'm taking care of her 3 grown children that have had 9 kids at this time. And I'm taking care of everybody, you know, and nobody's helping me. And after I had that back surgery, I made up in my mind right there that I was going to take care of myself, you know, and because I was slaving, I was killing myself. So I divorced her, and you know what? There was 1 granddaughter out of all 9 grandbabies and those 3 kids that I took very care of. And now she don't even call me. But it's from listening to what was other adults was saying. See, when you take the plug, when you're taking care of somebody and you stop taking care of them, I can imagine there's a loss, tremendous loss that brings in a tremendous pain. 2 years later, I met a young lady after leaving them that I'm finna share about, and then I'm gonna get to, because when you're talking about managing, no one can manage a relationship. We barely can, I barely can manage my day-to-day. Let's more talk about managing a relationship. But my 3rd marriage, I met this young lady, very successful realtor. Matter of fact, I met her in the neighborhood where we live through a picture. She had a sign on a picture, which I was going to buy my sons a 2-bedroom home in the neighborhood. You know, very cheap. They was only asking $12,000 for the house. It needed a lot of work, but you know, I was gonna, you know, go to throwing my son some investment. So I saw her sign because they was asking $12,000 for the house, but they was taking beds. And I saw this lady sign in the yard, and you know, beautiful young lady. I said, if this lady ain't married, this gonna be my next wife. Hey, about a year and a half later, what y'all think happened? About a year and a half later, this woman became my wife. But now let me tell you something about this woman out of all the other two. This woman was a gangster in disguise. 23 days after marrying this woman came in from selling the house and say, if you ever try to leave me, I'm gonna kill you. So 2 days later, after she left to go to work, what you think I did? I packed my bags and I went back to my apartment because I had a 1-bedroom apartment on the lake. Nice, I lived a life, you know. And I have 3 rental properties that, you know, I've been, you know, when I first said I was going to not rent my houses. I got 3 good tenants, been there probably about 8 years up or more. But at one time I said I wasn't going to rent those because I had got stiffed so many times, and I didn't believe in taking people to court. You know, I just said, I'll just, you know. But anyway, I married this woman, and she would come and woo me. You know, them women now, you know, I married her because, you know, she had what I wanted, you know, who I wanted, and I wanted her. But she had a serious memory problem. And I don't know if anybody know what a narcissistic behavior along top of bipolar behavior can look like. But it is something serious. It is very serious. See, I got you guys. I got a 12-step program that I can work. I got a sponsor that I didn't consult. Now, and I'm gonna tell you, I got the riot. He read me the riot. I got a pastor that read me the riot that I'm close to. I got what, 3, 4 brothers still living out of the 7 that read me the riot. My son read me the riot. You know, so I never, because one thing I've learned about a spiritual walk, you never point fingers at or blame somebody else. You know, I had to take total responsibility after I had gotten in this situation because I had been in 2 marriages prior, one a 12-year and one a 27-year relationship, 24 on marriage. So I, you know, but I ain't really know about this kind of sickness, you know, and trying to endure it. So I put up with this lady driving me crazy for 6 months. We went 3 different counselors in 6 months. I left her 15 times. And to where my sister and them said, you know, because I had got 2 different apartments losing money on leases. And then you know, because me and my family, we so close to where I got a key to, I got a sister live right here in Duluth, you know, nowhere from here, that work right there at John Creek, Emory, right here. Because I got 2 doctors right there, you know, so I always, you know, and I got a key. I can go to her house right now, anytime, day or night, you know, and I don't have to say anything, you know, because all of us pretty much have camera systems in our home. You know, you can tell us or you don't have to tell us, because if the alarm don't go off, then we know it's okay, because my phone gonna vibrate anyway, you know. So it's a love that we have for each other that, you know, it's all good. But like I was saying, this lady, she put me through, I left her after 6 months, and it took me 18 months. At 26 years, I went to jail. This woman, I'm in the Florida Keys because, let me tell you, I bought a $300,000 house through her real estate agency. And what it is after I bought, and now we have contracts through emails and through text messages that, you know, this strictly buy is, you know, not together. We ain't together, because I left her on August 22nd of 18, and I purchased the house September the 27th. When I actually purchased the house, she got the commission, I gets the house. I'm in the house 29 days later. What you think happened? She took the house. She went to the courts after coming over while I'm watching Monday Night Football, because, you know, I love the woman, so I didn't think to just go ahead and get the divorce. So, you know, love, boy, you don't think when you're in love, you know. But anyway, I'm sitting there looking at Monday Night Football. I get a phone call at 9 o'clock at night saying I'm on the way over. And you know what I say? Don't come over here because it's either booty call or trouble. And then I messed around and told her I was going to call 911. What do you think she did? She called 911. But she didn't beat me to the punch. I told 911 to come, and I don't know, she telling 911 not to come. Because, see, I just went through a 4-day jury trial that they wouldn't release the information on to me because I became a criminal overnight. I became a criminal to the justice system because when she took my house, she understood ways to get me put away that I didn't understand. Either I'm going to be with you or you're going to be dead or in jail. This is what I had married, man. And it became scary. So the God of my understanding told me to get out of Middle Georgia because I'm by myself. A person by themselves, it's hard to prove your innocence alone. So I went to the Florida Keys. You know, the month of December 18, that month, when she lied, and because they kicked me out of my house, and they gave it to her. Come to find out, they didn't give me only my house, they gave her her house too, so I couldn't go to neither house. So, anyway, my receipts and having a good lawyer, you know, got me my house back, but all this time, this woman took me to court 14 different times. When I came back from Florida that January the 7th, I had 4 warrants in Bibb County waiting on me. They locked my butt up too. But I got a lawyer. I had to get a lawyer. That day I had to drop $10,000. And do you know, lawyers and judges, they all play a money game. So they played a lot of money game. It cost me a lot of money. But you know what? I don't care how much money it cost me for my freedom. Because either if I didn't spend the money, I was going to be in jail or dead one. And I'd much rather for neither one of us to get hurt. To this day, I never had any hatred towards this woman because I understood she had a problem. And my spiritual side, the way that God that I loved me, it was so unforgiveness. He have so unforgiving conditions for me. I had to have that same unforgiving condition to her. And he showed me. And that's why, you know, when Troy asked me to do this workshop, you know, managing romantic relationships, man, you know, because one thing about me, I do feel myself, I believe in love at first sight. I actually am one of these guys that believe in love at first sight. I just hadn't found it yet. You know, am I somebody gonna stop looking for it? No, I'm not gonna, because I want to, you know, I like the benefits of marriage. You know, I'll just say that. You know, but what I'm saying is, you know, I can find it out there in the streets, but that ain't what I want. You know, when I grow to be, when I get about another 50 years, you know, I want somebody that I done had a good, wholesome relationship with. You know, because I still feel like I got plenty of thump left, you know, and plenty of life, you know. And I don't want it all in the street. I want it one place. You know, so, you know, but to manage some, I never could manage my own life. You know, I look back over, when I heard that word manage, I didn't want to do this relationship, but I meant this workshop, but one thing that I always believe, if Narcotics Anonymous asks me to do something, I need to do it. Mm-hmm. Because I didn't get here by somebody else not serving. And we're here to serve. And one thing I learned about somebody who serves, it ain't what they can get, but what they can give. Mm-hmm. Now, Do I need the same thing in return? Yes. I might not get it from the person who is giving it. That's the reason why we say the therapeutic value of one addict helping another addict. This thing is so therapeutic that it is beyond my wildest dream. It is so therapeutic that I've learned when I go to anywhere in the world, I can connect with Narcotics Anonymous anywhere I go in the world. And I'm telling you, I've traveled the world. This day, matter of fact, in them 18 months, I have gone to 2 different countries. I have been to probably 13 or 14 different states. And I'm talking about enjoyed it tremendously. You know, because everywhere I go, I plug in, and 9 times out of 10, I got family and friends already there. But ain't nobody better than my family in Narcotics Anonymous. No matter where I go, you know, when I get with us, you know, I learn a lot about the place, you know, and that's through the God of my understanding putting me in the right place at the right time. But if I ain't trying to give that unconditional love that we have to have, because I just said a while back, if I put conditions like me and my sponsees, they say a suggestion is a subtle command. It is, but you know what I tell them? This is my opinion. I don't suggest anything. Because if you gotta go down a road, and that's the road you gotta travel, I wanna be standing there with my arms open at the end of that road. Because that's your road. Now, I'm gonna tell you some things that might be a roadblock, but I ain't gonna say if you don't do this, then I'm not gonna do that. If you go through them roadblocks and if signs say stop. Because that ain't what I'm here for. I'm here to be there for the addict who still suffers. That could be me. And I'm gonna tell you something, when you're going through something that I went through, I felt like I was by myself. But I wasn't. But it feels like it. I mean, man, when you go into jail and you got the whole police force against you, them in the court, we find out in the courtroom on this 4-day jury that this woman, the police issued warrants on me and was told to issue the warrants without any proof. Now you know, because what it is, when it first started out, I went to the chief of police. The chief of police used to be her neighbor. His brother was still her cross the street neighbor. See, I learned so much. She threatened to kill me and another woman on speaker in his office with me with restraining orders against her. So I didn't stand a chance. I really didn't stand a chance, but right. When your motives and your intentions are right, you don't have to worry about a thing. I sit here today and I've traveled and I've done a lot of things and managing. If anything, if I'm ever getting into thing out of managing, it'll be don't take things in my own hand. See, my own thinking and my own hands is what got me a seat right here today. That's what got me a seat right in here today is not thinking. But because I used to be a reactor, you know, and most of us did. You know, if we'd have thought, we wouldn't be in this room. Or followed through, because the sign said don't do that. You know, at plenty of time our conscience would say, you know, it's going to be a bad outcome. But we still managed to do it. So, like I said, I just pray that somebody got something out of what I had to say, but it was a story that I came with by being asked would I speak, that I didn't try to prepare, I didn't think about it, I just knew I needed to do what so many have done for me, and that is share their experience, their strength, and their hope. You know, because This is a one day at a time fellowship. And sometimes I learn that I got to take it not only one day at a time, but 1 hour, 5 minutes, and 5 seconds. Because the pain can get just that great today. But I still can have the peace that I need through the pain. And it's really not tit for tat. You know, today I don't want to hurt somebody just because they hurt me. I don't get any gratification from that. I want to get off around them people because we always can be in a problem. But Narcotics Anonymous have taught me to be in a solution. Thanks for letting me share.
Thank you. So I'm Jeannie, I'm still an addict, and I know I'm gonna say her name wrong, probably the ones that keep me clean. So how about let's circle up and say the Serenity Prayer.
I think